Welcome to Heavy Talk. I'm your girl, Heavie Shortniece, aka Heavie, and I am back with another episode of Heavy Talk, here to serve up some more straight talk with no chaser. Happy Heavy Talk Friday. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Heavy Talk, straight talk with no chaser. As always, we have quite a bit to get into, so I'm going to get right to it, giving you your weekly word, your inspiration of the day. The word of the episode is health. Health is wealth. Make your health a priority. Don't wait until your body forcefully sits you down to prioritize wellness. Okay? Sometimes our body be trying to send us hints and signs when we're like overworking ourselves or when things are going wrong in the body. Don't ignore those signs. Don't wait until your body forcefully sits you down. Don't wait until a big old emergency happens for you to start, prioritizing wealth. Take your health seriously. Just like a car needs maintenance, your health and your body needs to be maintained daily. Like don't wait on it. Actively do steps to turn to taking care of your body, whether that's getting the right amount of sleep, whether that's making sure that you're eating healthy, whether that's maybe sometimes we don't be drinking enough water. Make sure that you're drinking a lot of water, especially because in a lot of states it's been very, very hot. It's been very hot where I'm at. I've even gotten heat rash all over my face, like been going through it. So make sure that you're drinking your water, staying properly hydrated, getting enough sleep, eating the right foods, just overall take care of you, and make sure that you're getting those routine checkups. If you can, don't wait to go to the doctor every 3 years. Like try to go once a year, maybe if even twice a year, get a checkup, just make sure that everything is okay. That's the word of the episode. For daily words, make sure you follow at HeavieTalk on Instagram and Facebook. Now let's get right into the episode. I want to start with a topic that I've been meaning to get into on past episodes, and that is the strike that's going on with the writers and the actors. I feel like I'm a little bit late to the party now, so you probably at this point already know what the strike is about. But quick summary, the actors first, I believe the writers started the strike. And then shortly after that, the actors decided to go on strike. The part that I wanted to talk about is just the way, is the impact that we, like maybe normal people, if you will, are going to see. Because quite a few things have been impacted by this strike. So that's what I want to talk about. And also, before I want to get into that, with the strike that was going on, I seen Bethany Frankel. If you don't know who she is, she was formerly, I believe, a Real Housewives of, I think it's New York. Might be getting that wrong, but she was definitely a Real Housewives on Bravo, and she's spoken out about the need for a union for a reality TV stars. And I thought that was a very good point that she made, because a lot of these shows get streamed a lot. They're on a lot of these different streaming platforms. People love the drama, unfortunately. So I know that these shows be getting watched, and that should definitely impact the way that these like reality TV stars are paid. And I also seen that when Bethany was talking about this, people were saying that Bethany, she was getting the proper credit in terms of her argument, or people were rather taking her more seriously, as opposed to when Nene Leakes, she was also a former Real Housewives on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, a Black woman. I seen the comparison made that when she was speaking about these same things, she was getting dismissed or no attention was being brought to it, as opposed to with Bethany, a white woman, is speaking about it, is going viral. Everyone is talking about it and just saying just how true it is. So I thought that was very interesting, and I definitely agree with her point that there should be some type of union for these, reality TV stars, and if not a union, they definitely, in terms of the streams, that definitely should impact their pay. Because if we like the people can still watch these shows, if it's years ago on these different streaming platforms, these stars that were on the shows that we're watching should be getting paid for it. But I think that's how it should go. So that was true. But in terms of the strike, I want to talk about a couple of different things that have been impacted because of the strike. The first thing, which I thought this was very dope, Viola Davis has stepped back from a film because of the strike. So from what I read, the film that she was working on had been cleared. This waiver process that she had to go through to make sure that she could still do the movie while the strike was going on, and the movie was clear, but she decided that she wanted to step away. She was quoted saying, "I love this movie, but I do not feel like it would be appropriate for this production to move forward during the strike." I thought that was super dope that she stood up. She's a very powerful voice in the whole entertainment field, especially a big, powerful Black voice in the entertainment field. So for her, a star of her stature, to say, "I'm not going to continue on with the movie because I'm going to stand with all of the actors and the writers," I think that was big. Something else that I thought was big is that the Emmys air date has been pushed back. There was a lot of speculation that this was probably going to happen because of the strike was still going on, but it has become official. The Emmys was supposed to air in September, but because of the strike, it's been postponed. There's no exact date now that I've seen, but as far as we know, it is not happening in September. Something else that I've seen is that Jeopardy's annual Tournament of Champions has been delayed because of the strike. I didn't even know that Jeopardy was going to fall into this, but in fact, so from what I read, at least 7 recent Jeopardy champions said that they would not cross the WGA picket line to participate in the show's annual Tournament of Champions. Therefore, the tournament rather, has been delayed. So let's go back. Viola Davis said, "I'm stepping back from this movie because of the strike. The Emmys pushed back the air date, and Jeopardy's annual Tournament of Champions has been delayed because of the strike." So I said I wanted to get into how this is going to impact we the people, and now we're seeing. In addition to that, I was also reading that some of our favorite shows, we might not be getting new seasons or new episodes for a while because of this strike. So I'm interested in seeing and just how long this is going to play out. And I definitely do stand with the actors and the writers. People deserve equal, fair pay and labor rights, all of that. That is critical. That's extremely important. More entertainment, since we're talking about entertainment, residuals, pay. I want to talk about a couple of our favorite shows. First, starting with Love is Blind. So previously, I've talked about Love is Blind and how former participants on the show have spoken out about how it was not the most positive atmosphere, how it was mentally taxing. So I just want to add to that and talk about one of the people who had first have found love on the show, but now it seems that him and his partner have now broken up. So I believe he appeared on season 2 of Love is Blind, Nick Thompson. Let me go back a little bit in case you don't know what Love is Blind is. So Love is Blind is a show on Netflix where essentially people talk like in pods, so they don't ever get to see who they're talking to. It's like a dating show. You talk to different people, you never get to see each other. You see if you guys built a connection, and then you propose to them without ever seeing them. And once you propose, that's when you meet them for the first time face to face, and then you go on this little honeymoon briefly, and you go back to your normal life. And then think about, I don't know the time period, but in terms of episodes, maybe after like 6, 7 episodes, that's when we get to the final wedding where you choose, do you want to stay married or, do you want to get a divorce? So it's a pretty popular show. And there was a lot of controversy with the last season, with the live show. It didn't go off right. And people didn't like the questions that was asked during that taping. So there was a lot of controversy with that already. But one of the stars from season 2, Nick Thompson, has spoken now about what he's currently going through. He said he's on the verge of homelessness. This literally goes back to what I was just talking about when I was saying that these shows are still getting watched, and these stars on the show that, we're watching are maybe not getting still paid, even though we're still watching it, and these companies are making money from us watching it. The people who are watching not getting no real income from it. And this is exactly what Nick is saying. He's saying that he was only paid $10,000 for 10 weeks of filming. According to him, that adds up to about $7.14 an hour with no residuals. So Nick has come out and said that he is struggling to find a job, that no one will take him seriously because of his role on the show. So he says he is currently on the verge of homelessness. I was absolutely shocked by that. Some of his quotes from, he spoke directly to Daily Mail, and I pulled some of the quotes from the article. Feel free to go look at the article and read it because it was very interesting. He says, when you think about the amount of money that's being made and the way that it's the path for future season, the fact that anyone can go on and watch me and I'm going to be homeless. I lost my job last November. I'm having an incredibly hard time finding a new one. He also went on to say that he felt like a prisoner on the show, like he was essentially being held captive. That goes into what I was saying previously about how quite a few previous participants on the show have spoken out about it and saying that it was not positive. Trying to think of it off the top of my head, but I believe season 1, think the couple was Garrett and I think his wife's name Amber. They've openly spoken out about the show and how they've kept going and made their love journey work in spite of everything that they were put through during the show. So it ain't just, people that maybe didn't make it and find a match on the show. Like, it's people that have found matches that are really known stars of the show that have spoken out and talked about their experiences. So another quote from Nick from the article said, "You are filming 8 to 20 hours a day. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to be on TV, but you're mic'd up from the moment you get there in the morning, and you're mic'd up all the way until you leave. Then when you go home at the end of the day, you're locked in your hotel room without a key, without your wallet, without money, without any identification." Wow, definitely sounds like a prisoner, like you said. The part of this that I found very, very interesting is that, and it also adds to the point that he, to me, feels like he was actually deeply impacted by this on a very deep level, not just financially, but also mentally, because he went on to co-found an organization that helps past, present, and future reality stars with legal and mental health support. I thought that was deep. Definitely go check out that article. Another one of our favorite shows is Love Island. So if you're not familiar with Love Island, it's a show about fairly young people, like maybe, what's the youngest person on there? Maybe 20 and up. They go on their show. It's like, and it's supposed to be in this nice villa. And how the beginning of the show starts is typically 5 ladies who line up, and then 5 guys come out, and then the ladies step forward, they're interested in the guy, and then the guy picks someone, and it just goes on from there, where different the people couple up, they have to, share bears together, do challenges together and stuff like that. And at the end of the show, the audience or the fans vote on who they think should win $100,000. So that's the overall concept of the show. Different bombshells come in. So like different ladies and gentlemen come in and they just try to sway the couples to pick them. So that's the overall concept. It's a pretty interesting show. It's spin off from to different countries. I believe it started in the UK, and then the US picked up a franchise and they started doing the show. I know I just seen the one that they have in South Africa. It's one season. They have one in Australia. So it's a pretty popular show. What I will say is that I had already noticed, not just on Love Island, but on quite a few of these shows, maybe I noticed it because I am a dark-skinned girl, that there seems to be always a lack of representation of dark-skinned women on these shows, whether it's reality shows, whether it's dating shows. There's always seems to be a lack of, the lack of representation of dark-skinned women. That's another one of the reasons why I kind of just stopped watching the show. These people never representing, never a lot of Black people on the show, so I didn't really want to watch it. But I started watching it again, and then I did my research, and then in doing my research about the show and just trying to find out what happened on that particular season that I was watching, I stumbled into an article about a lawsuits that former Love Island USA staffers have filed against the show's producing team, claiming labor laws violation. Quite a few of the other claims that were made were very interesting, and I also want to give a trigger warning for anybody who might want to fast forward, because what I'm about to say could possibly be triggering for some people. First claim. They claim the producers, quote, pressure female islanders to engage in sexual relationships and mistreated Black contestants. I want to go back to the sex part. I found this to be very, very wild. And before I say this, though, just to give you context, if you've ever watched Big Brother, you kind of know where it's like a live feed where you can always see what's going on. Like, it's pretty much cameras everywhere. It's kind of hard to like miss something. That's similar to how Love Island is. There are cameras everywhere. There's cameras like in the shower. They have cameras in the bathroom. So they're everywhere. So the claim was the former staffers who are suing the show's producing team claim that the producers, quotes, openly commented on video feeds of female islanders showering and having sex, creating a deeply uncomfortable work environment for women on sets. WTF, that's just gross. That's gross. I don't know why that never occurred in my mind, where during the editing process, they would have to be watching the footage of the sex scenes, even if it's not intentional, just to like put a show together. You have to watch all of the footage just to see, what you have to just, plot everything out. I don't know why it never included to my head, maybe until reading a story about like this, where someone is saying that the editors of the show were openly commenting on sexual acts and like, women showering. Like, that's like gross. That's honestly gross. Something else that I found to be very, very interesting, if that wasn't like gross enough, I already said that I had already noticed myself that there was a lack of representation of dark contestants, not just on Love Island, but on these shows in general, but especially on Love Island. It honestly stands out that there's not any dark-skinned girls. Like, maybe towards the third season, they try to throw in like one. So one dark-skinned girl with a whole bunch of like fair-skinned or white people, like, it definitely stands out. So it stood out here when it was the season I watched. I did watch this season 4, where there were noticeably only 2 dark-skinned girls for like that, like the main people on the show. So one of these dark-skinned girls in particular, the staffers felt like she was facing unfair treatment as opposed to her counterparts on the show. And the staffers felt like this sabotaged her chances of forging connections with the male cast members on the show. When one of the staff members complained about the treatment that this particular dark-skinned contestant was dealing with, an executive producer allegedly said, and I quote, "We are protecting her because we know none of the boys on the show like her, and we would hate to see her get rejected." Again, WTF. So you got people being gross, commenting on shower scenes and sex scenes, gross. Then you're just being unfair and mean and mistreating one of the only dark-skinned girls on the show. And to add insult to injury, the staffers are also saying that allegedly it was an unsafe and unlivable villa. So from looking at the show, you would think that it's like this nice mansion. No, this is the staffers are saying that It was inadequate for a living. It was inadequate publishing, inoperable bathrooms, and that the villa that they were in was allegedly under construction throughout filming. What's going on with our favorite shows? When I read stuff like this, I know maybe that my little stream, me not watching it probably won't really affect their whole bottom line. Like, who gonna care if I don't watch it? But enough of us band together and just stop watching the show and speak out. A real change might actually happen, because this is not okay. This is not okay at all. Seriously, Love Island and Love is Blind need to get it together. And speaking about entertainment, Black women, representation, I also want to say ABC's The Bachelor has another Black bachelorette, Charity. She is the third Black bachelorette for the whole Bachelorette ABC franchise, and I don't see enough being talked about. That's not being talked about enough, how they have another Black bachelor on the show. I should be seeing that way more places, especially on these Black platforms like the Griot. We should be talking about this, especially after the whole debacle with the former main voice of the show, Chris Harrison, and everything that he went through when he was trying to check the first Black bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay. If you're not familiar with that, go do your research and find out about that. But I just wanted to mention that. I just found that to be very, very interesting. Now I want to go back to a topic that I talked about a couple episodes ago, or it's been a reoccurring topic, really. What's been going on with the environment? Almost every episode, I've just been talking about different things I've been noticing with the environment I think are just very strange, and they're adding to my belief that global warming is definitely real, and that something is definitely going on with the environment, and the animals maybe know because they are revolting. So I don't just want to keep on telling you all that is wrong and not give you any tips or anything that you or we can do our part to try to improve or save the environment, what left of it that we have. I just want to give you a couple easy, quick things that you could do at home in your life to try to make sure that your kids, grandkids, nieces and nephews, even friends have a world to live in. The first thing is recycle. Recycle, recycle, recycle. Most places have a recycle garbage can. Just toss it in there. It's not hard. Second thing, use paper products. I know, especially when it comes to straws, at least for me, it just doesn't taste the same when you drink with the paper straw versus the plastic. Like, it seems like the paper straws just be getting like wet and like soggy really, really quick. But hey, we have to do our part and save the environment. So let's try to cut down on using plastic products and try to use paper products if you can, whether that's plates or straws or cups. Let's try it out. Third, which is my pet peeve, I hate when people litter. Please stop littering. It is not good for the environment. I mean, just like, I hate when people throw stuff out the window. Like, I think it's just gross. Please don't litter. Get I have a little trash bag in my car and I dump it out regularly. Get a trash bag for your car, or simply just wait. And whenever you're walking in somewhere, they usually have a garbage can outside the door, inside, just throw it in the trash. Like, don't just throw it on the ground, because where do you think that it's gonna go? Last but not least, carpool if you can. Catch a ride with somebody. You letting all of these toxic fumes into the air. If you can, I know I'm a person, I like to drive myself, because when I want to go, I want to be able to go at my own time. I don't have to wait for nobody, because I like to leave early. But if you can, please try to carpool. Those are all of my environmental tips. Please take heed so that our grandkids, nieces and nephews, friends can have a world to live in just like we have. Now I want to get into a couple of things sports-wise. I can't wait to get into a couple of things that I've seen going on with the WNBA, but I'm going to save that. First, Update on these ESPN layoffs. ESPN is not playing. I also talked about this on previous episodes that quite a few people were laid off when ESPN first kicked off their layoffs. That included Jeff Van Gundy, Jalen Rose, and Max Kellerman. I was absolutely shocked by all of those names. I would have never thought, especially Jeff Van Gundy, would be laid off. He was one of the most popular faces of ESPN, but yes, indeed, they laid him off. The new development is that Mark Jackson has reportedly been laid off. It's going to feel so different tuning into these games and not hearing Mark Jackson's voice. I'm going to be a little bit thrown off. And I've read something that said that Doc Rivers may be taking his spot. So I don't know how true that is. I'm going to have to research that, but I believe that's something that I read on Twitter. The question that I have is that I am really surprised that Mark Jackson has still not had a coaching job. Why has he not coached again? That's a question that's been posed a lot, and y'all be having a lot of jokes to say that, that one particular comment that he made. If you don't know, go look it up. I'm sure that you can find it, but I'm sure something to be said about that, why he has not had another coaching job thus far. I don't want to make it racy, but I think that's very interesting. Something else in sports, it's this show that I've heard about called Quarterback on Netflix, where it's a show just about NFL quarterbacks. I haven't watched it yet, but I do plan to. But something that I found was interesting is that the quarterbacks who have declined to be on the new season of the show Quarterbacks. Some of the quarterbacks who have declined are Bears quarterback Justin Fields, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, Dolphins quarterback Tua, Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, and the Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. Now, all those quarterbacks decline. Who's even left? I think something that I read just before I started recording is that I believe Joe Burrow has decided that he's going to participate in the show. So that's maybe one star name. Who else is going to participate? Because I believe that one of the main stars from the first season, which made a really popular hit, I think Pat Mahomes was on it. So they're going to need some more big names to, keep it going, just like it was a really good season the last time. So I do plan on watching. If you haven't, so if you haven't, go check that out. Now let's get into the WNBA. I first want to talk about Brittney Griner. She's decided that she's taking a break from the WNBA. If you're not familiar, Brittney Griner, a while ago, she gained public attention because she was wrongfully detained in Russia. That's the story. So it was popular everywhere. She was detained for quite a while in Russia. And then a deal was brokered where she was able to come home. And almost right after she came home, she said that she was definitely going to be hooping. Like, she didn't plan on taking any time off. And I don't know if I was the only one that was like, you don't want to take like a little break, like just to get like your mind together, because I can only imagine if I went through something like that, I would need a break just to get, my mind together, to get my mind in the right place. So I'm not that surprised at all that she's finally decided to take a break. I am surprised that she decided to only take just 2 games. From what I read, she's just going to be taking 2 games. So I just want to send thoughts and prayers out to Brittney Griner and continue to wish her a safe mental recovery and hope that she's continued to be wrapped in love and care. And speaking of prayers and love and care, I want to continue to send prayers out to Bronny James, who I talked about last episode, suffered a cardiac arrest during a workout at USC. So continue to pray for Bronny and hope that everything is okay. Now let's get into the real tea, which I read about this right before I started recording. I said, I definitely got to talk about this. Something is going on with Skylar Diggins. I don't really know that much about the WNBA at all. I've said that I'm going to tap in, and I'm definitely going to start doing that, especially I'm going to have to do my research on this and figure out what's really going on. So this just popped up on my timeline. I was just scrolling on Twitter right before I was about to record, and I seen someone say something like Skylar Diggins is working out at a YMCA because she can't work out at the Phoenix Mercury's training facility. So of course that caused me to go on her page, and then I just started to learn what's been going on. So from what I can understand, Skylar Diggins' birthday, again, if you don't know, Skylar Diggins is a WNBA player. So her birthday just passed not that long ago, and it stood out to quite a few people that her team, the Phoenix Mercury, did not make any public acknowledgement of her birthday. So after someone tweeted that to her, she responded to the tweet, and this is where it gets interesting. Her first tweet said, "They're not going to acknowledge me this year, and it's okay, guys. We're not affiliated unless it's the checks per management. I cannot use the practice facility or any resources, but I love the X Factor." So after she said that, of course, people are like, wait, you can't use the practice facility. Like, what's going on? Like, what's the real tea? So that prompted more questions. She tweeted in response, "Sadly, no. As in, no, I cannot use it." She went on to say, "Or any massage therapist, chiropractor, chef, strength and conditioning, nutritionist, accessibility, etc. They," maybe it's a typo, every other player has access to. That, I think she meant to say, that every other player has access to. However, I'm still down 48 pounds on my own and I'm feeling great. What's going on with that where they won't even allow her to use any of the resources? And is that legal? Like what? I also seen something about a player, I think her name is Derica Hannity, if that's how you say it, and something that she was going through with her former team, I believe, the Aces, and that was a big ordeal. So I'm gonna have to go research both of those, and I'm gonna provide you some more information, but I wanted to share that. Now let's get into all the things that have me like WTF, because the streets have definitely been a raging. I want to start with a past WTF moment, and that is Elon Musk's terrible decision to rebrand Twitter as X. We talked about this on last episode on how it was a whole debacle. He tried to well, he didn't try. He half did it. He rebranded it. It is now updated on my phone. I woke up and it was just this big old X on my phone. I was not happy about it. Well, what can I do? He rebranded it at the San Francisco headquarters. I talked about last episode, he was trying to take down the actual Twitter sign, and mid taking it down, the project was stopped because he didn't get proper permits. It was stopped by the San Francisco police. Then shortly after, he put up this big old X. It was a big flashing light it was like an X light, like a, LED type of an X, and it was just flashing. And from what I'm reading, quite a few residents complained about it, causing the sign to now be taken down. X no more, it is no longer there. In addition to that, the company will be fined for installing the logo on the roof without a permit. Again, I say, how does Elon, all of these different companies, and he got all of these, I'm assuming all of these people on his team who are well credentialed, why didn't anyone tell him, or why didn't anyone know that he was going to have to get these permits? Or did he think that because he was him, that he could just do anything that he wants? That's a much bigger problem, because that's just arrogance if you think that you could just bypass all rules and just do what you want to do. Yet again, another edition of how Elon is just ruining Twitter, just the Twitter brand in general. Can't lie though, I'm still going to use it because it's my favorite social media app. Next WTF thing is just what's going on at Lake Lanier. I'm going to have to do my research on Lake Lanier because there's been quite a few strange things that's been happening. Apparently, two people died last weekend. The main story that I found to be interesting is a man died after jumping off a dock and getting electrocuted entering the water. Here's the part that's interesting. Authorities have said they do not know what led to the water being electrified. That was my story. How did he get electrocuted? Like, is the water possessed? Honestly. Then, shortly after that man died, a 27-year-old man was swimming from a boat, went underwater, and he has not resurfaced. WTF? What's going on? Thoughts and prayers to their families. Some more thoughts and prayers, because this is like spooky. What is going on with these crypto people who are either dying, coming up missing, or being imprisoned? Crypto millionaire was found cut up in pieces inside a suitcase in Argentina. Yowzers. Ice Cube, Ice Cube, Ice Cube. I honestly never thought, similar to Kanye, that this was how things were going to turn out with him. Like, I would have never guessed that Kanye was going to take that route. And I never did I think that this is what Ice Cube was going to do. First, we talked about this last episode. He decided to take Tucker Carlson for a ride through the hood in LA. He also appeared on Tucker Carlson's Twitter show. I talked about my stance of it, which was this is not a Republican Democrat thing. This is, of all the people, Tucker Carlson, who has said, in my opinion, the most ignorant statements in the world. This is who you're choosing to attach your name and likeness to. This is who you're choosing to get a bag to. Because by appearing on his show, you're like essentially giving him money. So that was my stance on it. After Tucker Carlson took Ice Cube, after Ice Cube took Tucker Carlson on a ride through the hood, quite a few people had a lot to say about that, and that caused people to do some research into Ice Cube and his business practices. What they found is that allegedly Ice Cube's company, or rather sports team, the Big Three, is co-founded by a former business partner of Steve Bannon. Now, do you know who Steve Bannon is? Steve Bannon is Trump's former White House chief strategist. WTF. This is who you're partnering with, Ice Cube? Seriously? This is what we're doing? Okay. Now, I just find this to be very, very bizarre. There was this popular viral video of some bears in China standing on their hind legs. They look very much so like humans. So much so that people thought that it was people dressed in costumes. I'm not gonna lie, that's what I thought. And it wasn't too ridiculous of a concept to think that it was people in these costumes, especially in China, because from what I read, in the past, China has tried to pass off dogs as wild animals. So this wouldn't be far-fetched. But another zoo, I believe in England, came out and showed a video at their zoo too of this same bear standing on its hind legs. I find that to be very strange. I don't know. Would never go to that zoo. Tina Turner's daughter-in-law plans to conceive using late husband's sperm. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. According to her story is that her husband froze his sperm as a birthday gift to her right before he died. And now, since he's passed on, she plans to use his sperm and get pregnant. I honestly just think that it sounds a bit strange. I don't know about that. This one, it don't even really matter who the people are, but one of the people, a former Ferrari CEO, him and his fiance, well, now wife, are officially married after a 19-year engagement. 19 years? what do you even propose to me for if you're going to wait 19 years to want to get married? Like, what's the point? But then on the other hand, don't even get married if you know that it's just not the time. Like, I guess people be knowing when it's just not the time yet. So I guess they knew in all of these years that maybe it just wasn't the time. We got stuff to work on. Or if we really love each other, what's the real rush? But still, waiting 19 years is just wild. Like, that's pretty wild. Meek Mill claims rappers are paid more to rap about violence and guns. He was quoted saying, "They actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff." WTF? And I actually found what he was saying to be very, very true, because this is what Bobby Shmurda was saying, or something similar to what he was saying when he came out, which was that he don't really want to rap about any of that stuff he was rapping about previously with him just coming out. He wants to just change his ways. And he was saying that he faced quite a bit of pushback from his label when he was just trying to make different kinds of music. Honestly, I think that this honestly falls on us as the consumer. We feed into a lot of this ignorance and like negativity, especially when it comes to like platforms like the Shade Room. If we just don't give any light, if we find interest in other things, and they're going to have to pivot there, whether it's people that make music, whether it's these entertainment shows, whether it's these platforms, they're going to have to pivot to now what we find to be interesting. If they know that we're going to be interested in the mess, they're going to feed us the mess because we know that that's what's going to sell. So I think that that falls on us. And even more so, here recently, I talked about this when Lil Durk was trying to make different music and talk about different things. I seen quite a few people clowning him on Twitter, and I actually seen a tweet that was like, Lil Durk needs to stop with these, NAACP raps, saying that he was trying to rap about stuff that was positive and uplifting. Y'all was saying, get that out of here. So what does that really say about us and what we're interested in? That we're not interested in that, but we like all of the foolishness and the ignorant stuff. So what Meek Mill said is not that surprising, but still, WTF. Last but not least, now, an Ohio plastic surgeon has lost her medical license after the state medical board investigated her for live streaming her operations on TikTok. It's these social media apps, and like, is it that serious where now you are losing your job because you were trying to like live stream? Like, what was the point? Now you don't have a job. So I hope that whatever income you have been making on TikTok was worth it. I mean, honestly, because now you done lost your whole medical license. What you supposed to do now? That wraps up all the things that had me like WTF in today's episode. Hope that you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed recording it. Stay safe. Make sure that you continue to take care of your health mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Stay hydrated. It's been extremely hot in a lot of different places. Stay hydrated. Stay out the sun if you can. Make sure that you're eating properly. And I will catch you here, same place, same time, for more Straight Talk with No Chaser. I'm Heavie, and I'm